I'm gonna film this sitting in my son's playpen. Sure, why not? This is life now. I spend a lot of time in here. Before we start, this video is not me sitting here telling you not to read baby books or not to research. Read and read and read, okay? Reading from the experts and, you know, reading other people's experiences definitely prepared me somewhat. Like, I knew to expect to feel jet lagged for a couple of years with the exhaustion. It's still worse than they said, but reading is what taught me about the absolute miracle that is breast milk. And by researching it, I learned so much that none of us would know without all the research that's been done, you know, that breast milk is different in the morning versus at night. Like, it has different ingredients, you know, either adrenaline or melatonin. It's fascinating to learn that, like, you know, it changes as your baby changes, and it's not just about nutrition but antibodies and comfort. I didn't know that in societies where children are just allowed to nurse for as long as they want, they actually usually will only start to self-wean between 3 and 4. Like, just knowing that helped me to feel a bit better about my decision to continue breastfeeding my toddler, even though, like, where I live, it's very uncommon to be breastfeeding a toddler, and I face a lot of judgment and comments regularly in my real life, you know. From books and websites, I learned that night lights can disrupt a baby's sleep. Red nightlight good, other colour nightlight bad. I learned to take my son outside a lot and expose him to natural light when he was a baby to help him to develop his circadian rhythm. I had no idea how to introduce solids, so reading about that really helped. And I learned about, you know, developmental milestones and just so much information about teething. And there's so much about it, about being a mother, a parent in general, that, you know, similarly to other things in life like heartbreak, grief, mental health stuff, it's the kind of thing where you need the experience of wading through to really learn a lot of what there is to be learned. So, you know, if you're watching this video, you very likely will have to learn this stuff yourself. But these are things that I just didn't really see talked about very much when I was doing my research when I was pregnant. 6 things, right? So, firstly, trust your instincts. Oh my god, there's a literal mountain, like an advice mountain out there about how you should raise your little one, and it comes at you from all angles every day. People in your life, Instagram, websites, books, TV and movies, which really do show what I feel is a very kind of false depiction of motherhood. But anyway, at the end of the day, nobody knows my child like I do, like my husband and I do. And therefore, we're the ones best equipped to figure out what he needs. And to get in touch with your intuition can be super hard. But, like, once you teach yourself how to listen to your gut, like, I taught myself this years ago about listening to the gut, you know, when you'd be dating and there'd be like a red flag smacking me in the face and I'd be ignoring it and trying to paint it green, you know. I learned a long time ago how to kind of, you know, sit back and be like, what is my gut feeling saying about this situation? And I have been so much happier since I started following my gut feeling telling me this is a safe situation. But with motherhood, like, my instincts were often very, like, you know, they were contradicting what I was being taught to do from external sources. And the main example I will just share here, by the way, I have had hundreds of people reach out to me with very long personal messages thanking me for talking about this, because so many people do this and do not speak about it, and that is co-sleeping, or more specifically bed sharing. You know, if my body was lethal to my baby, I wouldn't be here talking to you and you wouldn't be watching this video, because the only reason any of us are here is because our ancestors slept with their young and breastfed them all night. I would not have been able to breastfeed if my son wasn't sleeping beside me. There's just no way, either in a co-sleeping cot or with me, which he slept with me. Bed sharing isn't intrinsically unsafe, but it's something that can be made very unsafe, and that's kind of all you really hear about. But, like, in so many places around the world, it's completely normal. Something I did learn through reading is that in Japan, where co-sleeping and, you know, breastfeeding are the cultural norm, rates of sudden infant death syndrome are the lowest in the world. And I have had experiences with my own son when he was a small baby where I was so glad he was beside me during the night, because, you know, yes, it's really, really hard, and I almost felt like I was sleeping with one eye open. But I would know immediately if he was too warm and he needed me to take off a layer of clothing, or if he was too cold, or if he had done a poo, so I could change it before he developed a nappy rash. Being next to me helped regulate the breathing, the heartbeat, everything. Like, there's so much in it. And to me, like, when he was born, I just wanted him to be beside me, and I just felt really anxious about the idea of him being taken away from me and put in the little plastic cot thing. And, you know, some people were making me feel very wrong in my instinct as a mother, but like, nah, like, everything in me was like, it's biologically appropriate. And I'm so happy. My husband has been so supportive of, you know, bed sharing, and we've established such a nice routine. Like, we got a Super King mattress, ditched the base of our bed temporarily, put the mattress down on the floor and pillows around the outside of the mattress, and made a huge space for our son. He sleep on this side of me, my husband is on the other side of me. Like, there's just so many ways in which, you know, my common sense was telling me this is the best way that's going to work for me and my son, for his safety, my mental health, for our breastfeeding relationship. And it's just one of those things that I know if I had listened to everyone else, like, I wouldn't have been following my instincts. So if your instincts are telling you something different from what my instincts are telling me, there's like, mine aren't wrong and yours aren't wrong. For example, there is a thing called the Safe Sleep 7. You're supposed to be sober if you're sleeping with your child, and there's all these things. You can look into the Safe Sleep 7 yourself, or I might actually put them here. There is a huge sleep industry. You know, we are part of a capitalist society. There are different needs within families where some mothers need to be gone and out to work, and all of the various contraptions and stuff like are very, very helpful for certain types of lifestyle. But what my point is that if something you want to do with your child works for you and it feels right, and your gut is telling you it's right and it's safe and it's healthy for all involved, listen to your gut feeling and try not to let external sources make you question yourself. Mama knows best. The next point, like, I don't know, I do see it touched on, but like, it should be talked about so much more. Every baby is different, and comparison is the thief of joy, that whole spiel. Because, you know, there were days when my son was small and I'd log into, you know, social media, and I'd start questioning everything to do with my son's development. I'd be like, you know, oh God, he's gaining way too much weight, I'm breastfeeding him too much, and, you know, he was quick to crawl but then a bit slower to walk, and he's very slow to talk. Then I sit back and remember, there is no fast, there is no slow, because it's not a race, there's no finish line. All babies and children will ultimately get to the same place, but they are all on their own paths. It's really important to not be measuring your child against other children, like, especially with things such as, you know, their food intake. Like, it can vary so much on a day-to-day to week-to-week basis, and it's common that mothers get like, oh, my son isn't eating enough, or my son should be eating more this food or that food. Tying that into the first point about following your instincts. If you deeply feel something is wrong in say if your child has like become super, super picky and you're worried about the nutrition they're getting, like, you speak to a professional, like a pediatrician, doctor, whatever. Like, don't be doing the whole comparison thing. I've learned that it is just so silly. Like, I was starting to really feel really guilty for showing my son kind of, you know, educational cartoons sometimes and like little snippets of Disney movies. He gets so little screen time, but I was like, is that why he's not talking already? Because he's 18 months and the internet and everyone else was kind of like, he should have at least 20 words by now, and he doesn't. He kind of repeats the same things, but he is trying to talk, and he does. You know, if I show him a book and I point to anything in this book, he can tell me what it is. Like, even if I say, where's the sticks for the fire? He knows where they are. He understands the most specific of phrases, and like, I can communicate with him. So, there's no reason for me to worry about that. And yeah, that's something that I do think a lot of new parents do. So like, yeah, if hearing me say this helps you in any way, please let me know. I know that for me anyway, I just wish more people spoke about this. Please speak about this if you're a mother and an internet-y person. So yeah, get to know your own individual child and tend to their own individual unique needs, because they are an individual and they are perfect as they are. Next is, cannot overstate this, you have to go with the flow. You have to go with the flow. Every single day is a new day. Every single day is different. And just because, you know, something worked yesterday, say to do with putting your child to sleep, or to do with their mealtime, or to do with soothing them, calming them out of a tantrum. Say they were super interested in something on Tuesday and then Wednesday they just don't care about it anymore. Like, every day is different. Your child is always changing, and they're doing new things every day. They're learning new things every day. And that is one of the best things about motherhood for me. It's very difficult to be bored because it's just so fascinating. Like, and yeah, what I mean with this point is that, like, if you're one of those people who likes to be, you know, super routined and very tight, specific schedules, and it's very hard with a baby or a toddler to carry a routine. Like, maybe a routine might work for a couple of weeks, but, you know, to have like a specific routine long term is just, it's not very realistic. Because as parents, we have to go with the flow and just chill and relax and not worry so much if certain things on the to-do list don't get done. It is going to ruin our ability to just enjoy these tiny little humans while they're small. It's just so freeing when you just go, let's see what today brings. Let's see who you are going to be today when they wake up in the morning, and just go with it and let the day unfold and be surprised by it. And it's beautiful, and it's a lovely way to live, and it's my favourite thing about being a mama. I reckon, well, I know from talking to some of you and some of my friends that fear of the flow, it can be debilitating, and it can just make people very miserable because they're holding their current life situation with a child, baby, up against, you know, standards that they used to have for themselves. New life, new you, new way of living. The next point, very quickly, is just simply Dr. Google bad. Dr. Google not good. If you have a question, just ring your doctor. I've never had to bring my son to the doctor. He's been so lucky with his health, but there's been weird random things, you know, when he was a baby, like he had this growth coming out of his belly button, and I literally thought it was like an organ prolapse or something. Like, Google is just not good. It was literally a nothing situation, and they just put something on it, like salt or something, and they'd shrivel up. And like, yeah, babies are weird, and they get lots of weird random things, and real doctor good, Dr. Google bad. The second last thing I've learned, not through research but through the experience of having my son, is to slow down and to enjoy slowing down immensely. My life used to be bananas. Like, I was on airplanes all the time. Like, I used to go to England every couple of weeks, travel opportunities. I used to just be all up on those opportunities, and I loved going on trips with my friends, and my schedule just being ram-packed. Like, I used to just hate looking at my schedule for the month coming and seeing free days. I was always go, doing as much as I could, and I don't regret that at all, but it was really hard for me to slow down and to kind of make the most of that, I suppose. Like, my son came along, and suddenly I'd have this person saying, are you around this day? And someone being like, oh, I'm free today, do you want to go for a coffee? And just a lot of things like that I'd be like, actually, no, I'm literally trying to just scrape myself through the day right now to get all my work done and to keep my son and myself healthy and happy. And my boundaries changed, my circle of concern changed, tightened. My husband and I just had to scale back on the madness of our lives. And of course we still enjoy time with our family and friends, but like it's, you know, an evening watching a movie and having a takeaway and chatting, and it's not going into town and going out drinking until 4 a.m. and then coming home on the night bus and then climbing a mountain the next morning. And you know, it's so much more about our son now. And I think before I had a child, I was very frightened of that. I was very like nervous about the idea of like losing myself or my whole life being about my child. And it's just impossible to understand until you're in that situation. Like, it's not a bad thing. It's just a change. It's just a different thing. And it's such a peak experience. And you don't want to miss it by speeding through it, you know. Like, I just try really hard to, like, you know, not be sitting. I never sit with him and be on my phone. I'll look at my phone if he's asleep or if he's with someone else in another room. As a result, I've been online a lot less. I miss so many updates from content creators that I like. I usually have like one afternoon a week where I kind of catch up on videos from people that I love watching. And yeah, I'm just really enjoying, you know, pottering around the garden, following him in his little welly boots and watching him explore, watching him pick up little leaves and jumping in puddles. And it's just so lovely. It really makes you be more present. Like, it forces you to be more present, to practice mindfulness. And I urge you to just soak up that like slower pace of life for a while. All the mad fun, wild nights, all that can come back once they're a bit older. And I don't feel like I've lost myself. Like, I'm still me. I'm just driving in a different lane for a bit. I love this lane. I don't really know if I ever want to leave this lane. Knowing that I can one day helps me to stop and just appreciate the view. And the last thing is that I didn't realize how much more I would love myself having become a mother. You know, like, society depicts the kind of one outcome where it's like, you know, oh, I hate my body now and I don't have a life anymore, and you know what I mean, that kind of miserable mother. And of course some people experience it that way, and I don't want to invalidate anybody, but like, it is possible to come through this and just be your absolute fucking best self. And I even just stuff like my boobs point downwards. And before I had my son, and even like while he was still a baby, I was still like, oh, I'll probably get a breast lift one day. And I'm not like making any decision on that, but what I mean is, like, I was so sure that I would hate my boobs after them stretching and like breastfeeding and everything like that. And like, as time has gone on and with every day, my view on my boobs is changing. Like, yesterday I was just looking at them and I was like, whoa, like, you are doing your thing, ladies. You know what I mean? Like, I just have such a deep appreciation for my body, what it's capable of, the healing it's capable of, how it's nourished my son and sustained him. And having a baby during a pandemic, when they wouldn't allow me into the hospital unless I was a certain amount dilated, and I had no vaginal exams on the top of my, you know, file. So many things that happened around my birth, being cut off from so many people in my life for months after my son was born, healing from vaginal tears, and coming through baby blues, coming through a bout of postnatal depression, surviving newborn exhaustion that just like builds and builds over the months. And for me, like, months 3 to 7 were just so difficult. And then all the hair loss, and I started just thinking, who am I don't feel sexy anymore. Am I ever going to feel sexy again? Yes. You go through so much, and then one day you're just killing it, and you're, you know, I'm amazing. And you do really see your strength, like, literally mapped out in the pictures over the past few months. And I can't believe how much I'm able to juggle in a day. Every day I wake up and I'm doing things until I go to bed, and like looking after this little person, and he's just thriving. He's so happy, he's so healthy, he's just so funny and amazing, and I adore him. He just thinks I'm wonderful. Like the way he looks at me, it just makes me feel incredible. Like no one and nothing could ever take from that feeling that you have. It's a very powerful place to be in, and you really start to realize what does and doesn't matter in life. Like the littlest things years ago that would send me kind of spiraling and worrying, and now it's just literally like you're wearing this invisible armor, and it's like water just rolling off you, and you just don't give a shit. I know what matters now in life, not just to me, but just in life. Like there's so many, like if you get a stain on a new dress and you got 5% lower in an exam than what you wanted to get, and just like so and so doesn't like me anymore. Like I'm a mother. I have a child who needs me for everything, and I'm killing it at that role. And like it's just so for other people as well to like see you mothering and to tell you you're doing a good job. It's just, you just fall in love with who you are and with your capability and your strength, and you're like, fuck yeah, I can deal with anything now. That's just the way I feel, and I know a lot of other people have felt literally like so impressed by themselves coming through it. And not obviously, yeah, you have your shit days and you question yourself and all the rest, like you make little mistakes, and that's completely normal. But regardless, you're doing so much that you probably never thought that you were capable of doing all the time, because it's never ending. It's just all the time, and yet you get it done. You somehow figure it out, and that, like, I feel like I'm carrying that into other parts of my life now, and it's just brilliant. And yeah, like if there's anything that you would like to add to this list, or anything that I mentioned that you'd like to talk more about, comment below. I love how much I'm constantly learning about little people and all their little quirks, and just and how deep love can go. Like it's just this endless hole of love that you just want to keep swallowing you up. It's amazing. And just the eye contact, and it's just mind-blowing, and it really can make you anyway be a lot more spiritual and just in touch with everything. And yeah, empathy builds. All the good things, they build, they grow. Yeah, I'm gonna go. This is a bit of a weird video. I hope you didn't mind me sitting down here in my son's playpen. If you want to hire any children's entertainment, come at me. I'm real good. Goodbye, goodbye, good friends, goodbye. And now it's time to go.